Hello everyone, welcome back to X-Plane 11 once again. Today we are going to fly the TBM 900. This is the new one that was released on X-Aviation. It is the Hot Start TBM 900, it is absolutely incredible. There's so much to this airplane, and we are going to go over it. The biggest thing is that with this airplane, you pretty much own these airframes. Like if we open the airframe manager here on the left-hand side, this is my registration, 711 Tango Bravo. 711 is my birthday. That's the reason why I chose it. But you can have many different airframes. And what this does, it's a living, breathing airplane. It's almost like AccuSim we've had in FSX and prepared in X-Plane. So what that means is the airplane is basically alive. Like everything that you would do in the real world with the airplane, it remembers it. The next time you go to the airplane, it's exactly how you left it. You even have the option to share it. You can go to enable network sharing. You can get a key and you can send it to your friends and you can both share the airplane. It's really, really, really cool. It's something that we haven't seen in this depth in X-Plane at all. So that is the airframe manager, and you can change your your registration number and stuff. And all that's under the plugins here, under the plugin up at the top. Let's go to the maintenance manager, and that is where you are going to be able to perform maintenance on the airplane. There's a maintenance log here if we want to look at that. I've not done anything. I've flown this airplane about 5 times now, and I don't have accelerator wear model on because I want the airplane to fail and do weird things if I do it to it. So let's go to the engine. We hit open engine and check it out. We've got as new condition right here. Here's all the parts to it, and you can replace and repair them. And it will keep a log, all that. So what that means is you will know how much money you have invested into the airplane based on just normal wear and tear or your mistakes. Landing gear, we can actually hit access here and check it out. It's going to jack the airplane up on jacks. And you can check out everything here. It's good to go. It's all as new. Close that, put that down. Electrics, you can do the same thing and access them. And it's really, really in-depth stuff. I mean, talk about really falling in love with the airplane that you own and love. This is it. The lights on it are incredible. They're all LED lights, and they are all modeled individually. It's not just a blob of light. Access the airframe, everything's good to go there, and miscellaneous as well. You can do the oxygen and the lines and all that stuff. So all this stuff can fail and go horribly wrong if you don't operate the airplane within its limits. So that's the maintenance manager. The payload is where you can open this up. We can put a GPU out there, which we're going to do. I love the sounds of that. That sounds so good. So we're going to do a GPU start today, not a battery start, just to help the airplane. You know, if an airport has a GPU, why not use it? This is where we'll add fuel. Today we're going to put in 100 US gallons for our flight. We are in Daytona International, and we are going to go down to Fort Myers, Kilo Romeo Sierra Whiskey. Fuel on this side, bring it up. And what this does is this pops open these little gas caps. You see them right there? You have to put them back on when you're done. So to do that, you just click it again and it'll put them away. Same thing with that. So you don't want to do that. If you forget those are open, you will leak fuel out of the airplane. It won't be good. So let's do our little walk around. We can turn off our ties and caps here in the front. And now the airplane will start, or the propeller will start windmilling in the wind. It's really, really cool. Moving along this side, we got our static wick here on the left. We'll take that off. Pitot tube, we'll take that off. And then back here, we've got some static wicks. We'll take off, or static little covers there we'll take off. And then the static wick over here is good to go. Pitot tubes have been removed. So everything looks good here. We have the chocks there. And we can go ahead and, well, we won't remove those yet because we don't have the parking brake set in the airplane right now. So that's good to go there. This is where you can see your balance and if you're flying within the envelope. And I have it set to pounds there. And that is pretty much all the major stuff here on the left-hand side. We've got chocks and GPU quick access buttons there so we can pop chocks and we can have a GPU if we would like. So this is the airplane, 711 Tango Bravo. Now, some of you may know the livery on this airplane was actually inspired whenever they were making this airplane by the YouTuber of Steve01 Knievo. If you guys don't know who he is, he's an aviation YouTuber. He's fantastic to watch. He puts really, really, really high quality in all of his videos. And he flies in November 851 Tango Bravo. and they pretty much painted this 900 off of that. Now, he doesn't fly the 900, he flies an 850. So that's the difference there. But if you want to have that kind of look, you can. It's a fantastic looking airplane. And I also wanted to tip my hat to Steve-O on this one. If you guys want to check out Steve-O's channel, I'll leave a link in the description below. Okay, let's hop into the airplane and check it out. Here we are. You can hear that GPU out there running around. And this is the cockpit of the TBM 900. We got 3 major screens here. We have an overhead panel. And that's pretty much it with the airplane. There's not a whole lot to it, but that is, for the most part, the cockpit. And we'll see that plenty this trip. So to close this door, we're going to come back here, and we're going to hit the little button to close it. So right here, we're going to hold that down. And here comes the door. Once it latches, right there, we're going to press this down, and that is going to be locked and secured. So here's all of our seats we have for our passengers. If we wanted passengers, it's just us today, so we're going to ferry the airplane down to Fort Myers. And with it being loud outside, you can make things a lot more quiet if you just put the headset on. As you can see right there, it mutes the sound, and we can put it back on. It's really nice if you don't want to listen to the droning of the engine for a long time. But for the most part, that is the inside of the TBM. Let's go ahead and close our door. Let's click that guy. Comes to a close there by pushing down on the latch. And look how much quieter it is. Isn't that neat? All right, so all we have to do now is get everything ready to go. So we just take the crash bar here on the top. We flip it up. And that's pretty much going to be minimal. It's going to give us minimal stuff here. When we put it on the bat switch, that starts to come to life. And I did a night flight last, so the panel lights are going to be on. Turn those off. And we want to bring the source up to right there, the GPU. And you heard the GPU bog down once we grabbed the power from it. It's aligning right now, and our Garmin systems are all firing up. So many neat features in this airplane. Really, really, really cool stuff. Synthetic vision, just to name a few things, you know, weather radar. So many different things. There's those chimes we want. We're going to silence those guys.
Warning, okay.
Our warning's good. Oil PSI is good. Fuel pressure, oil press, GPU, door, auto cell, and vacuum low. Those are all good. That's what we would normally expect if we had the airplane just sitting here and we have nothing going on. So in the procedures menu, I need to kind of get rid of some things. So let me do some housekeeping here. I flew into Daytona last night on the ILS 7 left. So I'm going to get a different flight plan in here, and then we'll go from there. Okay, I went in here and I put in Kilo Romeo Sierra Whiskey. That's going to be RSW. That's where we're going to be going. The active flight plan is in there. We have a magenta line coming out of there, so we can close that by hitting the FPL button. We have here declutter options for our map, which makes it look nice and tidy. You can bring the range in and out of the map. And what's really nice, you can zoom way in to help when you're taxiing. How cool is that? And we'll zoom out and you'll see what we got going on here. I do have north I don't have the north facing up. I have the airplane's relative position. I like to fly that way. Show chart. You can open the chart up and look at this. We have a chart for where we're going. Southwest Florida International. It gives you your frequencies. It's pretty darn cool to have that kind of information. Go back there. What else we got here? We have on the map options. We got NextRad. We'll turn that on. That'll be for weather. Any weather in the area. We have terrain if we want to turn that on. You turn on airways. All sorts of fun stuff. This is a G1000 package that if you've flown the real G1000, you will be right at home here. You'll know exactly what's happening. A lot of the G1000 is modeled, including the synthetic vision, as you can see right there. Loc 1, we're not really worried about that. So we're going to go to 18,000 feet today. Let's go ahead and just roll that sucker up to 18,000 feet. We'll get off the ground before too long, I promise. There's not a lot to the starting of the engine and taxiing and all that. But there is a little bit a method to the madness. We'll hit VS. We're going to do vertical speed mode. And we're going to go up at about 1,500 feet per minute to start with. We can always change that later down the road. Keep in mind, I'm very new at flying a TBM, so these procedures may not be accurate. So keep that in mind. Flight director can be on or off if you'd like. Anything else I can't really think of. We have, oh, yeah, 18,000's good. And we have that set. No, it turned off when I did that. Oops. Want to do that again. So let me reset that again. So about 1,500 feet per minute. Actually, the airplane will have no problem doing 2,000 feet per minute out of here, let me tell you. Okay, so that looks pretty good on that end. So all we got to do now, normally we would be in much more of a hurry, but we have a GPU because we wouldn't want to kill our battery. So to start the airplane, not a whole lot we have to do here. The aux BP is going to go to on. You're going to hear that. We're going to get the little chime there. It's going to say, hey, aux boost pump's on. We can actually hear the aux boost pump. Ignition is going to go to auto. And we are going to start the engine by engaging the starter for 2 seconds. 1, 2, it catches, you can release it. And we are going to monitor our systems. NG is rising above 13% NG. Well above 13. We can introduce fuel by pushing forward on this guy into low idle. There's high idle. Oops. Engine is okay. I didn't mean to go. I wanted to go into low idle, not high. I don't know why I did that. Keep an eye on it. We almost hot started the engine there. That wouldn't have been good. Hey, the hot start TBM 900. All right. Yeah, we know the bleed's off and all that. It's coming to life now. We're waiting for NG to rise. ITT is coming back down now. We can go ahead and bring this thing up into flight idle position. We're gonna move our guy to that. Let's make sure our parking brake is set. We're going to hold our brakes and we're going to rotate this all the way to the right. There we go. That's how you engage the parking brake. And we're going to tell them to kill the GPU because we're going to go on to our generator. So gen comes on, GPU can go off, and it's bye-bye. That goes back down into the bat position. That looks good there. We can turn our aux BP to auto now. Fuel selector goes on to auto and the AP trims come on. Now we can come down here and do our bleed. Air goes to auto and AC to auto. And inertial separator is going to come on. And that's all there is to starting the TBM. We didn't catch it on fire. Almost did. Almost did. So this is a whole new system here. And to put it into taxi and reverse ranges, you need to have a key binding set to your reverser toggle switch. So you can operate in those areas. So that's what's going on. We have them remove the chocks. There we go. The airplane isn't going anywhere because the parking brake is set. We're pretty much all good to go here. All we have to do now is just double check our trims. Should be where I left it last, and it is. I love that it does that. Bring it back into the green. The rudder trim is actually enabled by this guy, the yoke. And I'm going to click it to the right, and we're going to go about halfway. Right between the white and the green on our rudder trim. That's what we want for takeoff. And then we go flaps to takeoff. We can look outside the side here as we do that. There go the flaps. And they are set for takeoff. So to get on out of here, we're going to make a right-hand turn. And we are going to be taking off, I believe. Where's that windsock? I just looked at the weather a minute ago. Yeah, we're going to be taking off on 7 left, it looks like. I want more than enough actual... I want more than enough runway for this, and I'll show you why that is. Let me grab the weather real fast. Okay, so in Daytona, winds are 080 at 6 knots. Like I said, we're using runway 7 left for departure. 10 statute miles of visibility, scattered clouds, 4,500, scatters 6,000, broken 20,000. And temperature is 25, dew point 16, altimeter 3013. So it is a high pressure system. Bring that up to 3013. That is set. And it should be on both sides. Yes, it is. Sweet. That is all there is on our weather. So we have that. Let's go ahead and put it into taxi mode. Now, before we start taxiing, I do want to show you some cool stuff here. If we put it in taxi, the lights of taxi mode, and listen to that engine outside. Look at that. There's our taxi lights, right? Now, if we put it into pulse mode, check this out. We've actually got the landing lights pulsing back and forth. Now, the reason why you have pulsing landing lights like that, or why some airplanes have it, is to prevent bird strikes. Birds don't like alternating lights like that, believe it or not. And we can go turn those off. Navs can be on. The nav lights on this airplane are also the beacons. So you see that red beacon flash? We should have had that on before we started the engine, actually. But you can see it right there flashing in the wing. There is nothing on the actual body of the airplane. Look at the heat blur coming out of the side. Isn't that incredible? And look at that prop. Now, if we change the feathering and all that stuff, and you're in the outside view, you will actually see it modeled. It's absolutely crazy. I'm not even kidding. All right, so that's good. Let's make sure that our taxi range and all that stuff's working. So I'm going to go ahead and click it into this. There's taxi range right there. And what you do is you pull it back until you're almost where reverse range is. Because if you get down into reverse, it'll light up. See right there? We want to be in taxi range. Right there is 0 thrust. And that's what you want, because you don't want the airplane just lunging forward on you. So that's the reason why we're doing that. Okay, so let's hold the parking brake down and we'll turn it off. There we go. I'm going to double check I have working brakes. There we are. And yes, I have brakes. Taxi light is on. We're going to go taxi down to runway 7 left. All right, taxiing on out of here. Like I said, we can bring our range all the way in, and that'll help us navigating the airport, which is always really helpful. We're going to make a right here on Echo and make a left on Papa. And we'll take Papa all the way down, actually. That'll work out just fine. And if you need to, you can always just kind of bring it back and right into that beta range, that right where it's very close to reverse range. So you got to kind of figure it out on your throttles where that is located. One thing I can tell you about this airplane is it is so throttle sensitive, extremely throttle sensitive. So when you first get this airplane, you're going to want to spend a lot of time with it, getting used to it, because it will bite you very, very quickly. I mean, it's a lot of horsepower in this thing. All right, we're going to cross this runway and continue down to 7 left. And there's a Daytona International Speedway off to our right over there. You can see it all lit up. There's the Ferris wheel. There's the NASCAR signs there. Pretty darn cool. That's the backstretch. That's actually, that whole grandstands, I think is, yeah, it's gone now. It's not even there anymore. I'm not even paying attention to what we're doing, but you saw the runway show up there on the synthetic vision. All right, now enough of the jibba jabba. Let's go down to runway 7 left. All right, we're gonna actually cross the runway over here, and then we'll continue making a left to go down that way. As we do that, we need to get this ready to go. So we'll click on CDI so we get our GPS en route. There we go. And we can also hit nav there. So that'll be ready to go when we do turn on the autopilot. You see the flight director showing us which way we need to go there. We'll cross runway with 7 left and continue taxi. All right, we made it down here to runway 7 left. Let's go ahead and zoom this out. There we go. We can see what we're doing here. We'll know where we're going. That looks good right there. And now we can go to strobe lights on. And we're going to turn pulse on for our landing lights. A lot of birds around here. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull out onto the runway. We are going to hold the brakes down. We're going to bring our engine power up, and we are going to be shooting for 93% NG for our takeoff. A little difficult to get there because it's easy to over torque the engine, and we don't want to do that. You'll have your hands full, let me tell you. One thing about this airplane is it's extremely squirrely on the ground as of right now when it comes to dealing with transitioning between your power settings. So If you keep that in mind, you won't be in too much trouble. But don't just firewall it. Don't just go crazy. I've already done that before. Let's line up on the runway. All right, we're lined up on 7 left. We can even see it on our synthetic vision there. I'm going to hold the brakes down. I'm going to go ahead and bring this power up. We're in flight range right there. A little bit more than that. We're going to shoot for 93 on our NG. So keep bringing it up ever so slightly. I'm going to release the brakes. We're going to start rolling. Add that power a little bit more. We're shooting for about 93. That's going to be just good right there. Maintaining directional control with the rudder. And we're going to rotate right about 90 knots. Right there is good. Bring it on back. And we're already in the air just like that. And there's gear up. So we have our positive rate. At 400 feet, we're going to bring up our flaps. So we can already bring those up now. And that's all there is to taking off in the TBM. Watching our torque and watching our NG on our climb out here. We'll be starting our turn here in just a few moments. And we are going to be to the point where we can turn our yaw damper on and stuff here shortly. Yaw damper's on. Let's go ahead and make our turn to the right. And we're going to follow our little flight director as we do that. And look at that. Just like that, we're shooting out of Daytona. All right, 3,300 feet. We're just following our flight director here. And we can climb out at a much slower speed, so we can bring that actually up a little bit more and make it more prominent. Do about 2,000 feet per minute climb now. And it should be reflected there. That's a little bit more of a right turn. We're going to get on that magenta line, and then we're going to engage our autopilot. We're above 5,000 feet here in a minute. Once we do that, we'll turn off the inertial separator. That's going to give us more... It's going to give us a lot more power here. So we're waiting to around 5,000 feet for that to happen. We can actually engage the autopilot system now. And it's going to take over. It's going to climb to that, but it's also going to try to grab the magenta line as we do this. And there's the turn to the left as we are intercepting. Looking great. Look how beautiful it is. Beautiful day in Florida for flying. Not expecting any storms along the way either, so that's even better. So there's 5,000 feet. Inertial separator comes off. We got the yaw damper on. We've got autopilot on. We are tracking good speed here. 2,000 is definitely what we want on our prop RPM. Fuel is good. Electrical is good. Everything's in the green. Climb speed's looking good. Coming up on 10,000 feet. We can go ahead and turn that guy off, and pulse can come off as well. And everything else looks like it's going okay. Still keeping an eye on all of our systems here. We're all in the green. I'm telling you what, you're going to be so much more on top of your flying when you know the consequences of you know, flying the airplane poorly. That's for sure. Oh, we're coming right through a cloud layer. That looks awesome. So just showing you what the synthetic vision is showing here. We can actually pop these out and you can look at that lake right there. Compared to our relative position to these lakes, You can see it all there on the synthetic vision. How cool is that? And you can actually see it right there too. That makes more sense. 14,100 feet. I did lower it down to 1,500 feet per minute. We can go even lower there, just so we maintain some decent speed. We are going to be at our flight level of 180 before too long. And once we get to 18,000 feet, we'll set our local or our altimeter to 2,992 for standard pressure. And beautiful view up here. We're right above the clouds and nothing too turbulent. I did a flight from Miami up to Daytona last night, not recording it or anything like that. Oh, we don't have the stall heat or pitot heat on. Oops. Probably need those on. That would probably be nice. Yeah, we'll make them happy with that. The cast is clear now. And I flew up there and it was bumpy, man. It was turbulent. This is really smooth. It's nice. I'm really, really liking it. All right, that was the chime for 1,000 feet to go. I'm going to actually bring this down even more. We'll bring that to about 800 feet per minute. So, yeah, that's about good right there. We'll be at 18,000 feet before too long. I went ahead and decluttered the map and zoomed it out and showed you could even turn off the topo, so it's a lot darker in the middle. That's kind of nice. And look at that. That is gorgeous out there. Absolutely gorgeous. All right, we'll be at 18,000 feet before you know it, and that's when we will change over to 2,992. There's 18,000 right there. Looking all right. Everything else is good here. I'm going to bring the power back just a tad. I'm going to keep some speed in it. That's the beauty about a flight simulator. We don't have to pay for the fuel, so we can actually... Well, actually, I'm not sure if it... Does it maintain logs? I'm not really sure. But you'll notice that the menu's completely gone once you're moving and once you're in the air, which is really nice. So there's 18,000 feet right there. We can change the baro to 2,992, and it's going to keep on climbing. And that's one thing you'll have to get used to right there is, you know, as it's climbing, you want to make sure your altimeter set to 2,992 standard, especially if you're going to be at 180 here. So it'll come back up and it'll be fine there. We'll just change it when we start our initial descent into Fort Myers. We're just over Sanford right now, and we're going to fly over Sanford and Orlando International Airport. Some cool things to see along the way. And it's been smooth. Been smooth and good. All right, looking at the weather right now in Fort Myers, looks like winds are 090 at 9, so 9er. So that means that we're going to be landing on runway 6, which is landing to the east. We'll be landing from the west. 10 statute miles, visibility, clear skies, 2619, and we have altimeter 3007. We'll change to when we start our initial descent. We are just about 94 miles out from Fort Myers. You can see it right there, and it's showing estimated time en route. About 22 minutes left in this flight. All right, we are 42 nautical miles out from Fort Myers. We're going to change this altimeter to 3007, so let's do that first. We're going to go up to 3007. That will work right there. And we are going to bring our altitude selection down. And we're going to descend and maintain 5,000 initially here. So let's do that, 210. And we'll go into VS mode, and we'll start down ever so slightly here. About 1,000 feet per minute will work. And we can bring our power back as well. Don't need to have all that power on our descent, but we're going to keep some power in because I don't want to get too slow. We want to still maintain a decent speed towards the airport. No need to get really, really slow here. But we're going to start down a little early, 39 nautical miles out now. And we're going to be going, like I said, to runway 6. So we're going to come down here, and we're going to join the pattern. We'll go a left downwind, fly out over Fort Myers there at that other airport, and then turn around and land this way from the ocean. That's what we're going to do. We don't need to go all the way out to the ocean, but we're going to come somewhat close to the ocean there. And it should be fantastic. Not doing any procedures or anything like that. If we wanted to, we could go into the procedure page here, and you can select approach and arrival, departure, whatever you wanted to do. But we're just doing a very basic thing today, which is flying the GPS direct to RSW, and then we're going to just do a visual approach for runway 6. All right, 10,000 feet is coming up right now. So we are going to go ahead and flip our pulse lights on. Those are good enough. We'll turn the taxi light on or the landing light on when we get closer to the airport for the actual landing. But we're going to keep our back and forth lights going right now, the pulsing. That's good to go. Just double checking everything on top. We're fantastic. We have plenty of fuel. Flaps are up. Everybody's good, good, good. Not too much further, 17 miles to the airport, and we got 4 minutes remaining. That's actually the airport right off our nose there. You can see it just barely make it out right there. And we're gonna join, and we're gonna go this way and then come around and land that way. All right, we're going to get our heading bug ready to go at 240. That looks good right there. And we're actually going to enable heading mode. And we're going to continue down to 3,000 feet now. And we're still looking okay there. Got plenty of time to get down. We'll bring that up just a little bit more, about 2,000 feet per minute there. We're going to pull back a little bit more power here. We're still fine on our speed. And we can now engage heading hold mode. There it is right there. And the airplane will start to turn to the right. And we're going to be on a left downwind for runway 6. Okay, let's keep on going down. Let's go down to 2,000 feet. That looks good there. The runway just off our left-hand side over there. You can see it on this wing view out there. Here's the airport. Looks good. And this is Fort Myers Page Field here. Actually, a long time ago when I did a long cross-country flight in the real world, that was one of the airports we actually landed at. So we didn't want to go into the international airport if we didn't have to. Got about 213 knots there. We're going to keep it slowing down. Or actually, once we get down here to 2,000 feet, we're going to continue at 2,000 feet, let the airplane slow down. When we get down below 170 knots, we're going to go ahead and we'll put our first setting of flaps in for the takeoff setting. And then we can be ready to put the gear down too. That won't take very long. Here's 2,000 feet coming up on right now. There's Fort Myers Page Field. Not sure if the controls would allow us at 2,000 feet crossing over like this, but we don't have AI traffic turned on right now. Still waiting for world traffic to have an update to where they land on the correct runways. But other than that, everything's really nice and good here. We can go ahead and let the airplane slow, and we can make our turn now to the left. And we'll go all the way to that way. About 150 will work out just fine. Actually, let's just go directly to 160 or so. 163 will work. No problem. And we're going to bring our power back a little bit more. That looks good right there. Let the airplane roll off. Squaring up our approach a little bit more here. There's the runway right over there. And continue out this way. Now, in synthetic vision, we should have the actual, we'll have the airfield. No problem. Let's actually put a little bit more power into it. We don't need to get this slow this early. We're still about 6 miles out from the airport. So keep some speed into it. About 160 or so. As long as we're about under 170, we're going to be fine where I want to be. There we go. And we're actually going to disengage the autopilot and go hand flying here in just a few moments. Make sure everything's set. Good to go there. And we actually turn off the yaw damper, so that'll happen when we turn off the autopilot as well. So that comes off. Yaw damper did as well. Autopilot is disengaged. We have the airplane. And we're just going to square up our approach a little bit better here. About 150. So we'll be on a nice left base. That clicking noise you're hearing, that's me using the trim on the airplane. Airport in sight. Let's go ahead and slow her down.
Landing gear.
Yeah, I know. It does say that if you get into a too low of a setting on your power. There we go. I'm liking this right here. We're going to descend down to about 1,500 feet per, or 1,500 feet per minute, but 1,500 feet. There's our takeoff flap setting. There comes the lift, just like that. Be ready for it. Use our trim as we need to. I find that I have to use a lot of forward elevator trim on landing of this airplane. And we're going to flip this guy over to landing, so it's not going to be pulsing anymore. We can start our left turn to final now. And gear down. And you can see right there, that's our synthetic vision popping up the approach angle. So it looks like we're going to be pretty darn close to our glide path we want. And we'll do landing flap setting. Add a little bit more power now. We're going to be shooting for about 100 and something knots here over the numbers. A little bit more of a turn to the left. Looking okay. Get a tad high right now, it looks like, but not too bad. There's about 95. That looks good. Main landing checks are, we have, well, there's our synthetic vision looking great. We're just a little high. We're going to bring it down. Gears down, 3 green. Flaps are set for landing. Landing lights are on. We are clear to land on runway 6. Using a little bit more of the trim as I need to maintain our glide path. As we get down here, we'll be right on the glide slope here shortly. Wind's gusting a little bit here, getting knocked around. I like this power setting right here. This is pretty good. There, see how we have red over white? We're all right. And we are flying right in the box. I'm not going to touch my power. I'm pretty happy with this power setting for right now. Maybe a little bit more because we're going to need it as we get lower to the ground. And then once we get over the runway, piano keys, we'll make any adjustments we need to for crosswind correction, and then we will set her down. We'll just slowly bring the power back until you'll hear aural warning, and that's when you're going to want to pull it back even more. So we're just adding power, taking out power here and there, just hand flying the airplane. It's essentially a giant single engine land airplane, just with a lot of power. And you can see that synthetic vision having that. Imagine at night, or if you're in the fog, you know, that's really, really handy to have for ILS approaches. Looking good here. As we get closer to the runway, we'll shoot for more of a 90 knot range. I'm pretty happy with it for right now, though. Like the wind is starting to die down. The lower to the ground we get, a little bit more power here. We're getting a little slow. I'm happy with that right there. As the most problems I've had in this airplane so far have been on the landing roll. The airplane just gets really squirrely on you. You just got to be ready for it. And I wanted to speed up a little bit there, but that's all right. We got plenty of runway here. No need to force the issue. Okay, a little bit of right rudder, not much. We're starting our round out now. Letting that nose come up. A little bit more here. Bring the power back so slightly. Ooh, hello.
Airspeed.
There we go. Airspeed. Wasn't too bad. And now we can bring that sucker back into our reverse range. Ready for that? Yeah, see how the airplane starts to dart left and right on you there? That's good right there. We'll put it in taxi range. And welcome to Fort Myers. I think if I would have just pulled the power out a little earlier, we would have been okay on that. I was happy with the approach, though. The landing always looks worse on the inside view than it is, actually, because of that plugin we use. So it'll be interesting to see on the outside view if X-plane doesn't crash. Last time when I was flying the 737, it crashed on me. But it could have just been something to do with, who knows, the airport I was at or something. You never know. Make a left turn here. And we can turn off our pulse, our strobe. That goes down to taxi. And we taxi in over here. Let's go to the FBO, or the big yellow building over there. I think it's Private Star. Is where we're going. Yeah. Bring our flaps up. And we'll taxi on in. Alright, here is the ramp. Go right turn this way. We'll park it right out front, because it's a beautiful airplane. Pull back a little bit more power there, and then that comes off. We keep the nav on right now, because I always forget that the nav and the beacon are tied together. I'm pulling straight towards Private Star Aviation. That 0 thrust range right there. That looks good. Turn to the right. And we will stop it right here. That's good. And remember, we got to hold them brakes down and then add the parking brake. It's going to get the oral warning of that. That's fine. And then what I do is I turn off the AC. If I can grab it. Why can't I not grab that? AC? What are you doing? No? Bleed? Okay, bleed comes off. There goes the AC right there. These guys come off. Oh, we never turned the inertial separator on. We should have turned that back on when we were down below 5,000 feet. Oops. Okay, so those are good there. And then all we got to do now is we go to this, to the right, to low idle. And that is coming down. That looks good there. We can start turning off all our switches. Nav comes off. Source stays on bat for now. This guy's going to come back down to off. Starter is in the off position. Ignition goes to off. Aux BP goes to off. Fuel selector off. Or SEL. And then off on the trims. And then we can pull it all the way down. And that will kill the engine. Just like that. You get all the master warnings and all that stuff. You can silence those as you need to. But that's pretty good. Now the engine is going to be hot, and I'm going to show you some really cool things about this airplane before we head out. Okay. Looks happy there. And we can actually just kill it. Oh, shut. Those things are so annoying. Those sounds. Let's go ahead and put it to source off, and then we'll just turn the crash bar off. That's all there is to shutting down the airplane. Not a lot to it. You can come back here, and we can open the door just like this and push it out. Brings the little pedestal down, and we can get out and have a look at the plane itself. Come around this way. Look at that. Oops. Remember, 7-Eleven take. Okay, it doesn't like me holding that particular key combo down. It's not liking that at all. Let's just walk over this way, and there she is. How about that? Pretty darn cool, right? Now, if you notice out here, you've got you'll have heat coming out of the engine still. And if we go to the plugins, I don't think it works in this view. Let's go to the outside view, and you'll see it. Yeah, right there. You see that heat blur coming out of the engine still? So that engine is still hot. That's the reason why if we go here to the maintenance, not the maintenance hangar, the payload manager, we can click that and look what it says. Will set when engine is cooled off. It takes a while for the engine to cool off. So if you want to know what's going on with the airplane, you can go up here, go to plugins. You can go to your TBM 900, and here's a bunch of neat stuff. You have engine temperatures, and this is all in real time. This is really cool. If there's something about the airplane that's off and you're not really sure what's going on, you can use all of these tools to try to figure out what it could be before you go in and it magically tells you what you need to replace. But if you want to see what the airplane's doing, that is how you do it. You have that with the engine temps. You can go up here and you can go into the other stuff. You got ECS info. There's everything to do with that in real time. All the numbers are. You see the temperatures in Celsius rapidly dropping like that. Electrical info. You see the battery there. You've got a bunch of other cool stuff. Gear info. You've got all sorts of neat stuff you can see in real time. Well, that is going to do it. We're going to put our chocks in there, and with the payload manager, we can actually put down the covers on the static wicks and the pitos and whatnot. That's all we really need to do. And that's something cool about having this airplane is the fact that you take care of it. It's your baby, so you always make sure that everything is shut down properly, everything's good to go. And you can see this little standby guy has 2.5 minutes left before it shuts completely down, but it remembers every single switch you left it. The airplane will be exactly how it was when you got out of it. So I always make sure that I do everything right, and that's even closing the door and locking it. That way nothing happens while we're gone. There we go, and latch that sucker down right there. How about that? Well, folks, that is the Hot Start TBM 900. How about that? I will see you all next time. Take care.